independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I heard a pop, and it didn't sound right to me, so I turned in the direction of the pop, and I saw a gentleman in a green top with a gray handkerchief kind of around his neck and what appeared to be an assault rifle.
There's no reason to think that we were not safe there. And then this happens. You know what I'm saying? It could happen anywhere. You never think it's going to happen in your town, but look what happens.
We had two ladies. I feel so bad. They jumped in the cab. My family was still out, and I feel really bad about that. But I told them to get out. My wife told them to get in the back, and my family got in the car.
We have at least 15 people injured. We have 4 fatalities that we know of, including the suspect.
Awful. Again, another situation where somebody decided, hey, my bad day, my bad situation in life is now going to be everybody else's problem, and away he went. Awful, awful, awful. It could have been much worse. The police and the response of the police to get there within a minute of the shooting. Usually these things are, you know, you've got a few police officers around there. I mean, they expected about 100,000 people over the weekend. They've been doing this for years. Gilroy, the garlic capital of the world, as they call it, 30 miles outside of San Jose. And you usually have, in a carnival like this, you have a few police officers walking around. They responded within a minute. It could have been much worse, but still, you have 4 dead, 15 injured, including a 6-year-old. They got the shooter quick. And now the question comes, what's next? Who is this guy? Why did he do it? Which is always the question, right? Like, is it why did he do it? Who is he? Why did he do it? What caused him to do this? Put up some Instagram. He created an Instagram account apparently like 3-4 days before with some very cryptic messages talking about a book, a white supremacist book. But he also put up the Italian and Iranian flag. So, why is it that your horrible life has to become everybody else's problem? Why is it that you're so angry and pissed off that you were born, that things haven't gone your way, that you need to make everything about you, and in doing so, you're going to inflict the most amount of pain you can on individuals that you've never met, who've done nothing to you, and at the same time, hurt your family? It boggles the mind.
The alleged gunman, now dead, law enforcement sources are telling ABC News, was 19-year-old Santino Ligon. Ligon's father lives here in Gilroy. His home is being searched by federal agents who are executing search warrants. A motive for the attack remains unknown. It's also unknown if Ligon was working with anybody else to carry out the shooting.
Yeah, because there's a thought that he had an accomplice, maybe not somebody who was also pulling the trigger. And this is why it's tough to always find out. Like, when people talk about eyewitnesses, police will tell you that they're the worst, right? Because in chaos, you think you see things you didn't see. I heard some people last night say there was 3 people shooting, and they believe now that there is somebody else that could potentially have been a lookout or have been some sort of accomplice supporting him. But it was a horrible situation. And now the question is, what happens from here? California's got pretty strict laws. Not quite sure what the gun was. There's debate upon that. But how did he get in? They had metal detectors. He didn't use the metal detectors. Where did he go? He went around the back, cut through the fence, got in that direction. They had no cameras back there, nothing. But a horrible situation. And it still boggles the mind that why your bad day. Who doesn't have bad days? Who hasn't had struggles in life? Who hasn't had some issues in life? And I just never get why we get to the point where we're so angry and pissed that we believe that it should be everybody else's problem. It should be everybody else's problem. Hey, guess what? I'm having a bad day. Women won't date me. I don't like something. So I'm just going to randomly come and shoot a bunch of people. Boggles the mind. Don't get it. I'm pissed off. I'm going to shoot into a crowd of people watching a concert. Why? No. Just angry. Upset. Pissed. Who are you pissed at? The world? Yeah, for being born. That's a lot of what it is. A lot of these people are pissed at the world for being born. So now it's your problem. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Yes, over the weekend. It just never ends with Trump. It doesn't. It doesn't end with Trump. I sat there and I'm like, oh, God, here we go. Right? This is what's going to happen. You wake up on any given day and what takes place? Yes, the usual baloney when it comes to here goes something else that he has tweeted out about and that everybody has to deal with and fight. And I just sit there and I look and I say to myself, you know, you should be talking about how good the economy is. You should be talking about all of these things that you want to tout as victory. But you're so apt to always go after somebody and attack that you get away from it. And I understand why people think things are racist. I get it. I absolutely understand that. And I've talked to several Republicans, prominent Republicans, who, off the record, it's sources to me, say, look, it drives me crazy. It does. It absolutely drives me crazy. The things he tweets and the things he does. But the base, you can't come out and say it. You got to try to defend it. Mick Mulvaney this weekend having to defend, yet again, more stuff. A week after having to defend more stuff.
Good morning, Mick. Good to have you here.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
The president has tweeted 13 times in the past 24 hours about Congressman Elijah Cummings. I want to read the first tweet. He said, why is so much money sent to the Elijah Cummings district when it's considered the worst run and most dangerous anywhere in the United States? No human being would want to live there. Where's all the money going? How much is stolen? Investigate immediately. What is the objective of this?
And here's the thing. Elijah Cummings' district includes Baltimore. It does, which has serious issues, right? Bernie Sanders, just a few years ago, running for president, talked about Baltimore himself. This is Bernie Sanders.
The fact of the matter is that America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But anyone who took the walk that we took around this neighborhood would not think you're in a wealthy nation. You would think that you were in a third world country.
Now, if Trump said that, what happens? Like a lot of what it is, because Trump continues to say certain things over and over again, they come after him. Last week, Elijah Cummings, who's been a thorn in the side of the president for a long time, came after Trump, talked about what was going on down at the border and those kind of things, definitely ran with some stuff that that was absolute baloney. So Trump felt he had to come out and respond. You don't always need to respond. But he felt he had to. And he came out, and then it stirs up more, and it takes away from what you're trying to do. And when you're spending when you're having to send people out, and you spend your entire Sunday mornings, Saturdays, Monday, Tuesday, this would be much bigger if it wasn't for the fact that everybody's gone. They're on like a 6-week vacation. And yeah, there's some questions for Elijah Cummings. His district in Baltimore, it's a mess. But he's also got districts that have the highest per capita income. So, it is a mess, though. And I got zero problems. Los Angeles is infested with rats and nastiness, and the homeless have come in there. And Seattle's the same way. They've just turned a blind eye. But this is between Elijah Cummings and Trump. I don't like what he tweeted. Once again, it's another battle that doesn't need to be fought.
To push back against what the president sees as inaccuracies, lies about what Mr. Cummings said this week in the Oversight Committee about the border. If you go on the internet, you can find the exchange where Elijah Cummings said that children were sitting in their own feces at the border. That's wrong. In fact, it's misleadingly wrong. It's the type of thing that really breaks down a civilized debate about how to address the crisis at the border. And the president didn't like it. Does the president speak hyperbolically? Absolutely. Have we seen this type of reaction from him before? Yes, and you will again, because he pushes back, he fights back when he feels like he's attacked. And what Mr. Cummings said this week was wrong.
Yeah. I'm okay with fighting back to a certain extent. It's when you get into this game where you can easily be hammered over and over again. And the fight can continue in a way that's different rather than pointing out, look, black unemployment, extremely low. Hispanic unemployment, extremely low. And start walking through your successes. You pick a fight and you take away from everything that's right in front of you. And you give people a reason to say, well, it feels very racist to me. It does. And that's what you give people an opportunity to say, and then there goes the battle. There's no winning there. It's not. You want to win? Win. Continue to do what you're doing. Continue to get the economy motoring in the right way. But this doesn't help anything. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. Hope you had a good weekend. It's a quiet weekend for me. I will say that. I would say I flew Thursday and Saturday. Man, I tell you what, going through the airport, I know that we've got TSA there for a reason. I don't know what the reason is other than to slow you up. I really don't. You get there and like, who are you trying to fool, right? Like, that's the way it is. It's like, you're not fooling anybody. We know exactly, like, if somebody wants to get through, it's goodness me, man, watching them pull people out of line. I'm like, really? That's like that? You're going over like a child and mom and dad? Well, Chad, it could be anybody. Okay, I get it. God, 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Hey, I'm working with an amazing organization, and I get more people asking me about this than any of the other organizations and people I work with. It's called Wounded Paw, and they are proving to be so incredible for both the animals and the people they're working with, veterans, first responders, and their families. They rescue dogs that are going to be euthanized, and through their program, they train them to be service dogs, which many people say you can't do. You can't rescue a dog that's a little bit older like this and then train them. And that's what they do. They train them to be service dogs. They get them to the people who need them. 20 veterans today on average commit suicide. And that's where Wounded Paw comes in. They give these animals a second chance, and they give these veterans, their first responders, and their family something that they desperately need. But they need your help. Wounded Paw Project needs your help for sure. And what they're looking for is a vehicle. If you got a vehicle you're not using, RV, truck, boat, whatever it is, they will gladly take it. Even if it doesn't run, they'll come get it. And what they're going to do is put the proceeds of that into getting these animals, training them up. It's not cheap. They also take cash. You can check everything out for yourself. Go to woundedpawproject.org. That's woundedpawproject.org, or call 844-678-4PAW. That's 844-678-4729. Again, your tax-deductible gift goes a long way. You're saving a paw to save a life. Woundedpawproject.org. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Leader McConnell doesn't have to put the bills that we have proposed, Democrats, or the bill the House has passed. There are bipartisan bills, and we can debate the issue.
Yes! Chuck Schumer, I agree with you for once. Mitch McConnell, let's find a bill that helps. At least pretend like you're trying to stop crazy election BS. Right? We're not going to stop it all. And I'm here to tell you the stuff that's coming election-wise for 2020 with the deep fakes and a lot of other things like that are going to be confusing for a lot of people. And unless you're really sold on finding the truth, you're going to get fooled on some of this stuff. So you can't believe it all. But at least let's try to do some things. And Mitch McConnell's not taking it up. And we need to try to do the best we can. And I'm not even worried just about Russia. I'm more worried about China. I'm more worried about Iran. I'm more worried about North Korea at this point in time than Russia. Russia's goal was to divide us. We were already partly divided. They just ramped it up, right? Remember Spinal Tap? Turn it up to 11. That's exactly what they did. So now what is the question? It's going to be interesting to see what they're going to do. But if Mitch McConnell's not going to take it up, I got a problem with that, because I think that we need to address this thing as best as possible. And I don't know if he is really serious in doing that. It feels like a lot of games to me. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare thumb war.
Paul Browse again wins the annual World Thumb Wrestling Finals in the small English town of Geldston.
I just want to say I was unaware that they had these, because I am really good at this. That's all I'm saying. I work out all the time. My thumbs are strong. Nobody can beat me. I'm the man.
I feel on top of the world. To retain my title for the 4th time in a row feels amazing.
It's a best-of-3 1-minute rounds played on a wooden board that resembles a wrestling ring. 2 contestants stick their thumbs through holes in the ring, trying to pin down the other's thumb. Organizer Rory Van Bellis.
If you're not got a big, strong thumb, then a small, thin, agile thumb is just as good as that.
Champion Browse says he rigorously trains with thumb-ups on door frames.
Wait, what? Yeah. He does, but you've not seen me. I do like those Bruce Lee things where do 1 thumb, 2 thumb. I was wondering, do you get a belt? A little belt that go around your finger? Do you put that on anything? Isn't that weird? Like, do you tell anybody that? You're like, oh, you didn't know that, it's like if you're the Donkey Kong champion, you tell people that, I guess. Like the greatest of all time, or Pac-Man. And we're going to talk about video games in a few minutes, but I'm just saying, do you talk about being the thumb champion, the thumb wrestling champion? Do people fly in from all over the globe to partake in it, or is it just a bunch of Englishmen who are just like, I got a great idea. We'll have a world championship. We'll do it right here. It'll be fantastic. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Talk a little healthcare. The debates are tomorrow night. Battle of the healthcare plans. Your kid wants to play video games. You're telling him you need to go outside and play. Before you do that, let me tell you this, then make up your mind if it's okay that they play video games. Plus, drivers like Uber Eats, guess what they do 28% of the time? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Tomorrow night, they'll battle it out. The first of 2 nights, back to back, baby. First night is kind of an appetizer. We'll see if anybody really stands out. Second night is the main course, but the Dems are ready to roll. We've got 20 now. I have a feeling we're going to half this for 2 reasons. One, money. Right? You got to have money to play this game, and most of these people aren't going to be able to continue to do anything. They just don't have the money. Right? There's 5 surefire money people in this. 6 if you count Tom Steyer. But the 5 are Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. You've got Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, and Buttigieg. Those are the 5 that have money to play with. They'll get through it. The rest of them are kind of grasping here and there. And this could be the final straw for Beto to, over the next couple nights. He could be done and dusted. So tomorrow night on tap, they're going to talk a lot of things. And one of the things they're going to talk about is healthcare. And they're all rolling out their plans, right, for what healthcare should or shouldn't be. And I'm, look, healthcare is very important. It's very top of mind when it comes to the Americans in particular, right? Like when it comes to us, Americans, we're looking at healthcare and we're looking at our rising premiums. And we're listening to people preach, hey, we're going to give you free this and free that. And it all sounds great, but we're also not stupid. And we know that it's going to cost us a lot more. But we've been told for years that healthcare is, it makes it sound like half the country doesn't have healthcare. And I'm here to tell you that's not the reality.
9 out of 10 people in the U.S. are now covered by private health insurance or Medicare or Medicaid, say government surveys. A report this year by the Commonwealth Fund think tank in New York found more people, though, 44 million, are underinsured. That's about a 50% increase compared to 2010, with the greatest jump among people with employer coverage. The underinsured may have higher deductibles and or copays.
Yeah, and part of that, though, is, and, you know, they talk about like, oh, my God, you're underinsured. But, you know, if you're 22, you don't need the same insurance that a 50-year-old needs, right? So if you're a 22-year-old woman, you don't need the same thing a 50-year-old man is. If you're a 50-year-old man, you don't need the same thing as a 28-year-old woman, right? So, and some people, they want to pay cash, and they want the, oh, my God, guess what just happened to me insurance. Because the deductibles are high, the copays are high. They understand that. So tomorrow night, they're going to battle it out, right? And Bernie's got the things that he wants to do. One thing I enjoy is Joe Biden came out, you know, as he's listened, and I wish he would have done this in the last debate when everybody's raising their hand for this and raising their hand for that, where he just comes out and he says this.
Well, I find that people will say they're for Medicare for all, but they're not going to tax the middle class because we don't need to do that. Come on. What is this? This a fantasy world here?
Just, like, to me, you say that, Joe, you win, right? Like, if everybody raises their hands, free health care for people that aren't here legally. Joe looks around and goes, are you guys insane? Like, is this on? Is this on? No, put your hands down. Put your hands down. You're insane. But he didn't do that. You know, he's got to pander. But I think he realizes that's not working. He slowly but surely upped his lead, because I think people realize that, whoa, this just feels like it's kind of crazy. So Bernie's got to roll out his thing. But the reality is his thing is going to cost us a lot of money.
Do you agree with Vice President Biden that Senator Harris
Well,
is
I think the first thing that we have to understand is under Medicare for all, similar to what Canada has, people are not going to pay any premiums. They're not going to pay any deductibles. They're not going to pay any co-payments. So if you call a premium a tax, we're getting rid of that. But I do believe that in a progressive way, people will have to pay taxes. The wealthy will obviously pay the lion's share of those taxes. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of the American people will pay substantially less for the health care that they now receive.
Well, here's the thing. If you really look at the way that this works out, is the middle class is going to front most of this. They're going to be the ones that pay. So I did the math a little bit earlier. All right. Let's just say you make, again, place like California, New York, some of the more expensive places on earth here in America. Let's just say you make $80,000 a year, right? Place like that, you're going to, right off the bat, based on what you see in places like Scandinavia, 35 to 40% off the bat is going to go to taxes, right? So, and then you got your 10% state taxes. So you're down to $44,000 after all is said and done. $44,000. Well, that's not too bad. Really? Pay for your mortgage, your car, your kids, your life, right? And that doesn't include the fact that we're going to probably have to have VAT, value-added tax. It means certain goods are probably going to be taxed 10, 15, 20, 25%. You go and look across the board. Most countries with socialized medicine, single payer, whatever you want to call it, have that value-added tax. So you're looking at a position of, let's just say it's 20%. On top of your state tax and your local tax when you purchase something, because they're not going to give that up. So that's going to cost. So your dollar's not going to go as far. He also said this, which made me laugh.
Because we're going to do away with hundreds of billions of dollars of administrative waste. We're going to do away with...
That's all I needed to hear. How are you going to do that? Because the government is going to what? They're going to need a good portion of those people to come work for the government because government loves administrative waste. But you're going to need those people. So some of them are going to go over to the government. With them will come fatter salaries. With them will come pensions. And us covering their health care. Little things that aren't built in to that plan. So don't tell me that government's going to get rid of administrative waste when you love administrative waste. You live for it. Kamala Harris wants to do stuff a little bit different, right? She wants to roll out a 10-year plan. in that 10-year plan, it'll be a slow but sure switch to single payer if you want to. She still wants private insurance to have a role in it. What that will be basically is Medicare for all with private insurance handling that. I don't know how well that's going to go, but they're all trying to differentiate themselves, but kind of give you the same thing. Something to think about. Everybody loves the idea of free, free, free until it actually gets to the point where you go, wait a minute, this isn't as free as I thought it was going to be. Oh, yeah, it's not. No. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. He's 16. And let me tell you this. Over the weekend, I think he made Mom pretty happy.
T-Chubb goes down. But ladies and gentlemen, there's no way anyone beats him. Your Fortnite World Champion, Booga!
Yeah, Booga. 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 So when you're telling your kids, you need to go outside and play. You need to put the video game down. Let me tell you what Booga did. He's 16 years old. He won the Fortnite Individual World Cup over the weekend in New York. Arthur Ashe Stadium sold out. 16 years old. For that, he gets a $3 million paycheck. He was already making mid-six figures in many other things. This will set him up big time. A 15 and 14-year-old won the duo. They, too, got $3 million to split. The person who came in, I think it was second in the singles, he's the old guy of the group. He's 24. He said, it's good that I was doing it for the older generation. This is the new world, and it is amazing. $33 million in prize money. It was the most ever put on, prize money-wise, in esports. Esports dominates. It blows music out of the water as far as revenue. It blows movies out of the water as far as revenue. It's on a different path, and it doesn't get the same publicity. It's going to. If your kid says, I want to work in the video gaming industry and loves the video gaming industry, let them. Let them do it. It's that simple. It gets no better than that. It is incredible, the amount of money that's poured into this. The second place person got $1.2 million. And I think the fifth place person got $1 million. It's insane. It is. And there was tons of other prize money, $33 million. And Dota got, I think there was $59 million of prize money in theirs, but some of it was crowdfunded. So it just shows you the amount of money that is there. It's just insane. It really is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So last week we had the big Mueller report, and everybody talked, it's the Mueller report. This is going to change everything. This is going to change. This is changing the world. Independents are the things that people need to focus on, right? They're going to be the swing in the swing states. Independents are it. And Nadler and everybody wanted to do what? They wanted to paint a picture to the American people. Look at Trump, how evil he is, how bad he is, all of those things. If you love Trump, you still love Trump. If you hate Trump, you still hate Trump. Independents who are looking around at watching this whole thing saying, let's see what comes out of this. If they did watch it, only 13 million people did. Well, some numbers from independents.
A majority of independents, in fact, 6 out of 10, 60%, would say things like it was a waste of time or a waste of taxpayer money, or that they felt like Mueller himself was not up to the task. They questioned his fitness in some way. You only had about 1 in 5 of independents, about 20%, saying that the testimony seemed to prove that Trump was guilty of anything. So if the goal was the middle of the country, such as it is, it didn't appear that independents were really tuned in and dialed into this as being a major event.
Yeah. And that shows you a lot, because that was the whole thing, right? It was going to paint this picture about who Trump was, the whole 9 yards. Americans haven't heard it, and they probably didn't read it. And what they have heard has been very bipartisan. So hearing it from him was going to change everything. And what you needed to do was do what? You needed to paint this picture enough for the independents to go, ha-ha, because they're going to be the ones that will probably dictate this more than anybody else, because everybody's already in the camp they're in, and they're probably not going to change their vote anytime soon. So now you need those independents. And if they're saying this is a nothing burger, as Miss Hillary would say, then maybe you should step back and say, when we come back in 6 weeks, maybe we should start to do some stuff so the American people can look over and go, hey, they're getting stuff done. Oh, yeah. Because right now, you're not just worried about the election for president. you've also got a lot of seats up that are vulnerable. And if you end up doing nothing, and you told the American people in the last election cycle in 2018, we're going to show you that we can get stuff done, and you've done nothing but hyper-focus on this, that will bite you in the ass. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, Lil Nas X sets a record. Touch on the box office as well. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Take a fake news break. Check out the really important news of the day at our website, ChadBensonShow.com. Once there, click on Chad's free podcast and get real. The Chad Benson Show, where truth and the American way live. Print free.
Lil Nas X just wrote his single Old Town Road into the history books. The song, with many remixes, but the most popular being the one featuring Billy Ray Cyrus, has now spent 17 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart. That beats a record set by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men's One Sweet Day in 1995-96, and then tied 2 years ago by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee's Despacito, featuring Justin Bieber. Old Town Road is Lil Nas X's first single.
I don't know how you do better than that. Like, when your first single breaks records, like, everything after that feels like you're going to be disappointed. Like, you think about it, right? Was it Bad came out after Thriller, even though I'm a Michael Jackson fan, and it sold a quadrillion albums, and yet at the same time it was a wah, wah, wah. So good for Lil Nas X. Enjoy it. Billy Ray getting some love. Billy Ray getting some love. Learfield, Canada. This makes me laugh. Of course, people are upset about it. Why? Because we live in a world of absolute outrage. Everything is outrage. Everything. You post something, somebody's offended, outrage. It's just, oh my God, it's outrage. It's the Outrage Olympics. So Edmonton, Canada, Learfield Community League post a picture that says, and it's like, it's got one of those, billboards where you can, put the little letters up there. It says, tired of being fat and ugly? Hit the gym and just be ugly. And of course, people flip out. Somebody posts something, Maya Angelou. When you know better, you do better. And of course, people go off on it talking about, oh, it's funny. People are too sensitive, says one person. It's the truth. We are too sensitive. We talk about all the time how sensitive we are. But the funny thing is it's always people who aren't, quote unquote, the victims in the story that want to stand up for the victims, right? Like, the people that are commenting off, most of them are thin or somewhat in shape. Like, there's a couple of people posing in front of it with their thumbs down, and they're like yoga pants and whatnot. And I'm like, why are you fighting for that? Well, it's fat shaming. Get over yourself. It's funny. Well, it could hurt somebody's feelings. So what? Their feelings are hurt anyways. Well, Chad, no, but this hurts their feelings. Their feelings are hurt about something all the time. Stop being the police of humor. And that's what we have right now. We have police of humor. They don't want to give you the opportunity to have a laugh and say it's meant as a joke. What they want to do is criticize. This was funny. They said, look, we didn't intend to hurt anyone. And as unhappy as the community members saw the sign, most of them thought it was no more than a joke. And it is, right? Like, stop fighting battles for other people. And when I hear these stories, the thing that drives me crazy, and I think for most of you, is like, well, we had a call. Wait, you had a call or you had many calls? No, we had a call or we had a complaint. So you based your entire thing on a complaint. Not many complaints, not numerous complaints, a complaint. And you decided, well, we're going to do this. There's no way to do things. It is no way. Well, it's fat shaming. Oh, God. Here's the thing about fat shaming. You could do something about it. Right? You could. You could get fit. Maybe you call it fat shaming. For other people, maybe they call it tough love. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. 28% of delivery drivers who deliver food say they have tasted the food. 28%. Think about that. They confess to nibbling on an order here or there. 54% of those said they simply couldn't resist the smell. The paranoia has become so pervasive that 85% of consumers are pulling for restaurants to employ tamper-evident labels to effectively address the issue. I was thinking, would I ever do something like that? No, because I delivered pizzas, and what are you going to do? I mean, if you steal, like, pepperoni or something? I know. So, no. But here's something. What if you went somewhere, like it was Five Guys or In-N-Out or something like that, and there was fries? Could you resist then? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. That's a different story. An onion ring here or there. You're not opening something. It's just right in front of you. They're not going to miss it. They'll never know. Or will they? Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I heard a pop, and it didn't sound right to me, so I turned in the direction of the pop, and I saw a gentleman in a green top with a gray handkerchief kind of around his neck and what appeared to be an assault rifle.
There's no reason to think that we were not safe there. And then this happens. You know what I'm saying? It could happen anywhere. You never think it's going to happen in your town, but look what happens.
We had two ladies. I feel so bad. They jumped in the cab. My family was still out, and I feel really bad about that, but I told them to get out. My wife told them to get in the back, and my family got in the car.
We have at least 15 people injured. We have 4 fatalities that we know of, including the suspect.
Yeah. Horrible day at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. It's kind of like a 3-day fair. Gilroy is just outside San Jose, and it was a horrible situation. A young 6-year-old was killed, a 13-year-old was killed, and a woman was killed. It's an awful situation, and now you try breaking down exactly who the hell was this guy. And over the next couple of days, we'll get a better picture of who he was. He was a bad individual who apparently life was mean to him. And, you know, Phil and I have debated, exactly, because he's apparently of Iranian descent and Italian descent, although some of the stuff he posted on Instagram over the last couple of days, he set up an account, he had some white supremacy stuff on there. And it's a weird thing. But I'm with Phil, man. I think the guy's an incel. If you don't know what that is, basically that's a guy who doesn't want to be a virgin or doesn't want to not have lovin', if you will, but he's got no game, can't get any, and it's the other 6,999,999,999 who have screwed him over, and so he's angry at the world. I would not be surprised if we come to find it, there's a bit of that in there. But a horrible situation once again. And now the debate's going to be on tomorrow night. You got the debates actually on, and I'm sure this will be a huge part of it. But he purchased the gun legally. So, that's tough for, what do you say at this point in time? But he didn't purchase it in California.
We found out that the rifle that this suspect used was an SKS. There's a AK-47 type assault rifle. It was purchased legally in the state of Nevada.
Yeah, so he bought it in the state of Nevada. It has been around forever today. It's essentially the AK-47's cheap little brother, if you will. Holds about 10, right, in the magazine. Or they call it the clip inside of the, when they're explaining it to you. And this is the debate that's going to have. Fires 7.62, kind of hunting rounds. And this guy was doing that. And for whatever reason, again, he's pissed off at the world. Couldn't tell you why he's pissed off at the world. I don't even know if his family knows he was pissed off at the world. Was there a second shooter? Does it seem to be? Does it mean that it wasn't somebody who was involved or did know more about this? And I'm sure they're going to go into more and more detail about that. But it was a horrible situation, once again, done by a human being who, for whatever reason, feels that the world needs to feel his pain, and he's going to pass it off to everybody. And it's just awful. It's just you just sit back and you shake your head and you say, look, you're pissed at the world? Be pissed at yourself, right? Don't take it out on everybody else. Don't. And I don't know if he's a white supremacist or not, or if he's just trying to throw people off his, because you don't find too many Iranians that are probably white supremacists. So I have no idea what he was. We'll find it out. The politics of this has been really quiet. So that, to me, I also find to be interesting. And a lot of that is because people don't know where to stand in this. You don't quite know where to stand if you don't, am I on the right side? Am I on the left side on this? Where is he? Where? So it's been much quieter than you would have in other situations. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Of course, Trump doing what Trump does out there over the weekend, tweeting about Baltimore. Here's my thing with Baltimore. I'm just going to throw it out there. I get sick and tired of talking about Trump and his tweets. Did he tweet anything that was not true? Right? He said stuff in that tweet thing about how nasty Pelosi's neighborhood is in Northern California and how San Francisco and that surrounding area is infested and is nasty. I've said horrific things about Los Angeles. I was just there this past week, and it is gross, right? The city I grew up in and around is, it is nasty. Baltimore's got a lot of issues. They have. Am I a fan of what Trump does? No, I'm not. I'm not. But Bernie Sanders, right, a few years ago when he was running for, President of the United States, talked about Baltimore.
The fact of the matter is that America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But anyone who took the walk that we took around this neighborhood would not think you're in a wealthy nation. You would think that you were in a third world country.
Yeah. So, there's some issues there. Right? It's not all untrue. And Trump's not backing down. But once again, Trump has managed to take what should be an opportunity to have a very quiet 6 weeks while everybody's gone, to try to get some stuff done, to push his agenda, to get out there, to start it off by doing what? Going after Elijah Cummings because of what he said last week about seeing kids at the border sitting fecal matter and just in their own filth. And it's I've been down to the border on numerous occasions. I've not seen that. Not saying it's not true, but it's amazing that one group goes down there, that's all they see. Another group goes down there, that they see something completely different. And I sit back and go, well, where's the real truth? I've been down there. I've seen what the Border Patrol's working with. And I see the struggles they're having. So I think it's fair to ask the question, how much of a political game is this comparatively to just trying to get your side's point across when it comes to immigration and how evil Trump is? At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. It's also the Instagram as well. Do like hearing from every single one of you. So this right here is a weird story. I don't even know what to call this, but think about this. We've all played the game of dodgeball, right? I've played it. You played it. How would you like to be charged with assault? Yeah. Get ready for dodgeball. For dodgeball. And when I saw this, I was like, there's no way that this is real, right? There's no way that it's a game, right? And it's not like you see in the NHL and you see in some other situations where they've gone after pro athletes, right? They've gone after pro athletes who have done certain things to people, right? They've gone after them because they've hurt people on purpose in a game. Okay, all right, maybe I get that. But this is not that. This is dodgeball with kids and assault.
At number 2, a mother says it was supposed to be a game, but now her 10-year-old son is facing playground assault charges.
He is charged with aggravated assault, accused of throwing a ball and aiming for another student's face.
Well, part of that's dodgeball, right? Well, it's not very nice. Well, that's just still part of the thing is dodgeball. And I was like, okay, wait. So another kid got hit by a ball, and now there's going to be assault charges on a 10-year-old for playing a child's game. He didn't grab a baseball bat, right? He didn't pistol whip a kid. They were playing a game at school.
Those two boys were playing outside here at Erickson Elementary back in late April when this all happened. But it wasn't until 2 days ago that one of the child's mother, Kamishi Lindley, learned that her 10-year-old was charged with aggravated assault in juvenile court.
Aggravated assault. Apparently the little boy has some issues who was playing dodgeball. Maybe mom and the school should not let the kid play games.
These kids are basically playing a game that we all have played.
But on April 29th, what seemed like a harmless game ended with one student getting seriously hurt. According to the boy's mother, who asked we not show her face, he has a rare medical condition, making head injuries especially dangerous. According to a police report, during that game, another student threw a ball at his face on purpose.
He sustained facial tissue damage to his face. He had a black eye and a bruised nose.
Records show the then fourth grader also suffered a concussion.
Okay, if you have an issue, if you have a medical condition, right? If you've got a medical condition where you can get hit and you can have issues, there are certain things you probably shouldn't be playing. And one of those is dodgeball, right? Probably not football either, tackle or otherwise. Anything with the potential to hit your head and cause an issue, maybe, just maybe, I know you want to play, but I'm going to hold you out. And if you really want to play and your mom wants to let you play, then you also must understand that there's a potential of getting hit. And charging a kid with assault is just absolutely asinine. He threw it at his head on purpose. He shouldn't have done that. 10-year-olds don't understand certain things, right? When I was 10, I aimed for everybody's head just like they aimed for mine. Not the girls or people who couldn't catch, because that's no fun, right? But I'm going after my buddies.
His condition is something Kamishi Lindley says she and her son, Bryce, knew nothing about.
Well, that right there says something. If you knew nothing about it, then how in God's name are you going to charge this kid? That's not fair. Hell no.
Wednesday, Bryce was charged with aggravated assault.
I couldn't believe it.
This is on top of a one-day suspension, which occurred right after the incident.
This is a kid that was playing on the playground with his friends.
I tried not to let it get to this point.
This mother claiming her son had been hurt before and that she reported it to the school.
My son was hit twice in the face with a ball previously due to this, and the child apologized to my son, and he said, "Mom, it's okay. We're still going to be friends."
Well, there you go then. Maybe he should be in charge. But if he got hurt before and this was an issue, maybe we should look at mom who let her kid continue to do this. It is ridiculous that you're charging a 10-year-old kid with assault, with a bouncy ball. And the school, yeah, they're like, oh, we wish we could solve it in other ways. Jeez. This is why we can't have nice things. And I will go back to it over and over again. If your child has issues, like if they get struck in the head, that there's a potential that there could be serious issues with that, then maybe, just maybe, your child shouldn't play those games. I'm just saying. Even going out and playing basketball, there's a chance you're going to knock heads. And if it's that serious, maybe little Johnny either needs to wear a helmet or he needs to do something else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. It is Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chainsmokers still smoking hot, topping Forbes' list of top-earning electronic music acts. Forbes saying the duo took in $46 million in the past year, dethroning DJ and producer Calvin Harris, who spent the last 6 years at number 1. He falls to third with Marshmello in second. Steve Aoki and Diplo round out the top 5, and has been the case since Forbes started keeping track in 2012. There are no women on the list.
Good! I'm just kidding. Such a jerk. Maybe some of these people identify as women, so we'll go from there. Know this. Computers and technology, way to go. We'll talk about Fortnite a little bit and how much money people made over the weekend. And by people, I mean kids. Made. Lots. More than the guy, Brooks Koepka, who won the PGA tournament this weekend. It's insane. But Diplo made $25 million. Steve Aoki made $30 million. Calvin Harris made $38.5 million. Marshmello made $40 million, and the Chainsmokers made $46 million. DJ Pauly D. Does anybody know who he is? Does anybody know who Pauly D is? He's from that awful show that was on MTV's reality, The Jersey Shores. He made $11 million. Think about that. Soak that up for a second. He made $11 million DJing. It's insane. Oh, my God. So, when I was a kid, basically it's just you get one of those old Casios. You remember those things, producer Phil? Those Casios? And it had all the music on it. You just hit a button and it would go. And we'll just spin it up and we'll go, man. Got to come up with a cool name. Maybe we'll dress in some sort of costumes. Call ourselves the Furries. DJ Furries. We'll rock and roll it. Lord. $46 million. You almost made $4 million a month. Like $800,000 a week with records. That's a good living. I'm not going to lie to you. It is. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Oh, my Lord. A shooting yesterday that took place. The guy was talking about hunters and guns, and what he said I thought was very interesting.
I have a lot of hunter friends. They're the best people in the world. As far as I'm concerned, they have 1,000 guns. I feel safer with them having guns. They're great people. They're the best. But I think gun owners need to start thinking, too, about what can we do to preserve our rights, because leaving it the way it is not going to work.
And I understand what he's saying there. I do. The fear factor is I know a lot of people who are part of the NRA, and they don't like the NRA. But what they fear more is government, because they know government, you give an inch, you take a yard. And they've shown that to be true over and over and over again. But I was in a restaurant yesterday, right out here enjoying myself, and there were several people in the restaurant that were strapped, right? Because, we got open carry here and concealed carry. It's not. And I thought I never once panicked or worried about it. And I thought to myself, I feel okay. If something was to ever happen, I know that there's somebody here that could return fire before the police get here. I think it's an interesting thing. But I understand people's fear of what government may do. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Independent experts estimate that more than one half of the roughly 30 million uninsured people in the U.S. are eligible for health insurance through existing programs. Now the bigger issue seems to be that many people with insurance are struggling to pay their deductibles and copays. A report this year by the Commonwealth Fund think tank in New York found a jump by 50% in Americans who are underinsured compared to 2010, a term that describes policyholders exposed to high out-of-pocket costs.
You know what, though? Obamacare was supposed to keep things cheap, right? Wasn't that the whole idea that was going to save a family $2,500 a year? It's done none of the things it was supposed to do. And partly because there's a lot of people out there that wanted the just in case I got hit by a bus insurance. Outside of that, I'd like to pay cash for stuff. But you could. You're a 65-year-old man, you have to have pregnancy insurance, right? You're a 22-year-old woman, you have to have insurance to cover you just in case you have prostate cancer. It was ridiculous. It wasn't the one size fits all. But that's what they wanted to make it. They want to make sure that everybody had the best top-of-the-line insurance you could possibly get. And we're going to cram everything in there. And it was too expensive. It was just ridiculous. 90% of people in this country have some form of insurance. So think about that for a second. But tomorrow night on stage, the Dems have, Tuesday, Wednesday, where you're going to see them battle it out. And you've got different plans. Today, Kamala Harris released her plan. She wants to have an opportunity of private and public. Bernie, on the other hand, is looking more towards the other side of things. He wants to have just public insurance, which is, look. Let me tell you how it works in Scandinavia. There's a great article this week talking about the fact that in places like Scandinavia, where everybody talks about here's Scandinavia. First of all, the society itself has always been a pretty damn good society, right? It is pretty much a straightforward, monolithic society. Everything's kind of the same. There isn't too high in the upper, and the ones that are high in the upper, they leave. And the reality is the center pays for everything. I don't care what he's been very honest. Oh, your taxes are going to go up. He thinks, though, your taxes are going to go up to a point where you'll be fine with it because you're not going to pay for other things, which sounds great. But it's the other stuff that has to come with it that is going to end up costing the average person in the middle class. It's not just the income tax. There's going to have to be other taxes. And those are the things that disproportionately hurt the middle class compared to the well-to-do.
Whose issues, they will not accept the president trying to divide us up by the color of our skin or where we were born.
Well, let's talk about one of those issues specifically. You and other 2020 Democrats are going to be debating on the stage just steps from where we are right now. Your Medicare for All plan will be front and center, no doubt. Senator Kamala Harris says she supports it and she will not raise taxes on middle-class Americans to fund it. I want you to take a listen to what former Vice President Joe Biden had to say about that.
And by the way, Joe Biden said something here that should have won him the opportunity to be the candidate. And this is what I wish he would have done and somebody needs to do in the next couple days. When they start to promise everybody the world and everything in it, free health care, free jobs, a guaranteed income, free college, somebody needs to stand up and say, all right,
Well, I find that people will say that for Medicare for all, but they're not going to tax the middle class because we don't need to do that. Come on. What is this? This a fantasy world here?
That's what he needs to say. That right there is what he needs to say tomorrow night. Come on. Right? Come on. Somebody needs to stand up and say, who thinks we should give free stuff to everybody? Somebody tomorrow night needs to stand up and say, all right, let's come back to reality. Nobody's getting a free unicorn, right? There's no rainbows at the other side. You're going to have to pay some stuff into stuff. There is nothing for free. Somebody else is paying for it. Somebody else is paying for it. And eventually you could be that somebody else. And more often than not, what you're not going to read is the fine print that you're going to be paying for a good portion of it in other ways than just the rich paying for everything. But at least Bernie's been honest and consistent with you're going to pay more.
Do you agree with Vice President Biden that Senator Harris
Well,
is
I think the first thing that we have to understand is under Medicare for all, similar to what Canada has, people are not going to pay any premiums. They're not going to pay any deductibles. They're not going to pay any co-payments. So if you call a premium a tax, we're getting rid of that. But I do believe that in a progressive way, people will have to pay taxes. The wealthy will obviously pay the lion's share of those taxes. But at the end of the day, the vast majority of the American people will pay substantially less for the health care that they now receive.
It's all great if you have free health care. You know what sucks is you can't afford to live. Right? So that sounds great. You have free health care. Oh, man, it sounds awesome. So I have free health care, but I'm paying more. My rent's not gone down. My mortgage hasn't gone down. My car payment hasn't gone down. You're also having to probably add some value-added tax along the way, which could be 15 or 20%. Based on what you see in the Scandinavian countries, it's probably going to be more like 20 to 25%. So meaning just about every good you buy is going to have X amount of dollars or percentage points added onto it. Again, you pay $100, you got your state tax, your city tax, and now you may have a value-added nationwide tax in certain ways added on top of that to cover everything. So if you're wealthy, while you pay a little bit more in taxes, you're also going to be able to withstand that more. But if you make $50,000 a year and 35 to 40% of it goes to taxes, and think about this. Let's say you live in California. You make $80,000 a year. Seems okay. We got to pay 10% state tax, right? So there goes $8,000. And then on top of that, you got to pay what? 35, 40% then? Depending on how he rolls this thing out? So you're looking at almost 50% of your money gone? How do you survive on that in a place where it's ridiculous to live? It's insane. How? I mean, it all sounds great, but when you read the fine print, like everybody loves the sound of it, right? Free healthcare sounds awesome, but it's never free. It's never free. And when you break it down and you find out how it's actually made, right? Like how the sausage is made, it changes a lot of people's minds. And when you also tell them that your choice is being taken away, also change their minds, even though it sounds great, they still want to have the opportunity to have choice. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us again. Horrible day yesterday. Gilroy, which is the garlic capital of the world, as they like to call it, and just an insane situation with a 19-year-old asshat who decided that his world was so awful that he needed to remind everybody how bad his world was by killing innocent people. Got an update today about that, and it is just, it is horrible. This is Chief Klett.
This is something that we trained for. In fact, had a active shooter training with our colleagues in the police department about a year ago.
Yeah, and they did. And they were there quick, within a minute, and they took him down. Think about how bad it could have been. What we know about the guy is he's 19 years old, pissed off at the world, I guess, the usual thing. Dad didn't know. People thought he was okay. I'm sure we'll find out more about that. But, it's just a horrible situation. You had a 6-year-old who was killed and a 13-year-old little girl that was killed as well on top of somebody else. And there's still some people that are in critical condition, some people in serious condition, other people do not have life-threatening conditions. But it was a awful, awful situation, and now it's unraveling what the hell happened and how do we get to a point where this guy thought his life was so bad that he needed to take it out on everybody else.
Our prayers are with the families of those injured and killed in the senseless shooting. We stand with you, and we will be providing whatever assistance we can in the days and weeks ahead.
That right there is Mayor Rolando Velasco talking about it, and it's just 30 miles just outside of San Jose. Apparently he opened up a Twitter account. I mean, not Twitter, but an Instagram account. Didn't really have any followers on it just a few days before. He put Smokey the Bear, and here comes some fire and a few other cryptic things. And it was, just a horrible, horrible situation. And the debate tomorrow night, this is some more of the stuff you're going to hear tomorrow night on the stage about we need common sense legislation. How he got the gun is going to be questioned, obviously. He posted something that had a book, a quote from a book that is a white supremacist book that hates Christianity but has white supremacist roots. But on top of that, on his Instagram, he had, the Italian flag, the Iranian flag. It's a mystery. Will it ever be totally solved? No, because nobody knows what the hell was going through that guy's mind at any given time. But it's an awful, awful, awful situation. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at me. If you tell your kids not to play video games, slow down.
T-Chubb goes down. But ladies and gentlemen, there's no way anyone beats him. Your Fortnite World Champion, Booga!
Yeah, Booga indeed. He is the Fortnite World Champion. At the World Cup this week, it was over several days. They sold out Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York, and it was crazy. I watched a little bit, flipping back and forth just to see what it was like, and it was insane to watch. Esports is massive. It's not going anywhere. It's only going to get bigger. It is going to dwarf everything in the entertainment industry, and quite frankly, other sports around the globe better pay attention, because it is coming. The amount of money this weekend that was tossed around is insane. Brooks Koepka won the St. Jude's PGA. He got $1.6 million. This kid's 16 years old. He pulled down a cool 3.
16-year-old Kyle Booga Giersdorf is $3 million richer after being named to the first ever Fortnite World Cup champion. The Pennsylvania teen beating over 40 million competitors from around the world to play a 6-game series on the World Cup stage in front of thousands of excited fans at a sold-out Arthur Ashe Stadium in New York, winning the largest payout in esports history.
Yeah. Now, there was, I think Dota had a $60 million payout, but some of that was crowdfunded, and they had $30 million in there as well, but they crowdfunded some other stuff. But this is massive. To a 15-year-old and a 14-year-old, I think won the duo competition. And the guy that came in second, this is what's hilarious. The guy who came in second was 24 years old, and he's like, I'm just happy to be doing this for the older generation. He won like $1.2 million or something for the older generation. He's 24 years old. Good money if you can get it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. You can tweet at us. Let me tell you something. I loved it. Traveled. Had my Raycons with me. Amazing. They're incredible. If you don't know what they are, they're earbuds. Everybody's looking for earbuds. I want cool earbuds. One thing I noticed, when you get earbuds, you start looking around and you see what other people have. Right? Like people want the Bluetooth enabled. They want the little earbuds, especially when you're working on stuff. The little stems and the little dangling, even though they don't, they're not totally connected to your phone or your device, it's still annoying. Not with these, man. These things just clip right in your ears and away you go. Raycon is amazing. It really is. Even these are incredible. Ray J's put this together with several other celebrities, like people who understand, like Snoop Dogg and Brandy and whatnot, who get it. And these are incredible. Best feeling, best sound, and the price, you're going to love it. Half the price of what you're going to pay for all these other expensive ones. Don't do it. Get yourself some Raycons right now. Save 15% off. You're going to absolutely love these. The sound quality is incredible. The price is right. What are you waiting for? Save yourself 15% right now. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. That's buyraycon.com/Chad. 15% off right now. Buyraycon.com/Chad. The best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say
Federal officials say they found a missile launcher in a man's luggage at the airport in Baltimore. The unidentified traveler tells the TSA that he's in the military and coming home from Kuwait. He said he wanted to keep the weapon as a souvenir. The TSA says the missile launcher was not a live device, but it was handed over to the state fire marshal.
Yeah, and he ended up getting the opportunity to go home without any craziness. I flew this past week. I didn't tell you guys a story. I'll tell you guys a story. Producer Phil, you might find this funny. So we fly from here in Phoenix to Burbank on Thursday night. I do. And so I'm flying, and we take off, and you could tell this guy is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs before he gets on the plane. So, or whatever he is. So the minute the wheels are in the air, I mean, I'm talking about the minute the first front wheel comes off the ground and the second ones aren't, he's unsnapped and he's heading back to the bathroom. And he's stumbling. And then he starts doing, they're trying to get him to go back, and then he won't leave the back. So finally, they get him to sit down, and he starts pointing his fingers at the stewardesses or the air people, whatever, flight attendants. Did I offend? I probably felt I offended somebody, whatever. And he starts doing I'm going to shoot you. And I'm like, we landed in Burbank, and we're sitting there, and I'm like, well, why are we? I mean, we're already here. The door's open, and sure enough, there's 6 police dragging his ass out. You don't do that. They do not have a sense of humor anymore. I just want everybody to understand the sense of humor is no longer there. All right? Do we understand this? Sense of humor does not work. I watched Shark Week yesterday, a bit of it. It was awful. The fail was there. I wasn't the only one who thought it was awful. I don't want to see comedians doing stupid things. I want to watch Shark Week to watch Shark Week, right? That's what I want to watch. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm the only person who found this to be ridiculous.
And while much of the comedy was centered around shark activities...
A shark! You hear me? You saw it! Why would I declare that when there's a shark behind you?
Most of the shark-related content lacked any real insight or educational value, and many fans took to social media to voice their displeasure. I love Shark Week, been watching all my life. This is by far the dumbest, most disgraceful start to Shark Week ever. Get rid of these morons and get to Shark Study, anything with real science or credible people, not idiot actors. And this Shark Trip show sucks. Remember when Shark Week was about sharks and not dumb skits?
Yes. Tonight, hopefully, will be better. Wednesday night will be something very interesting because apparently they're going to have their first scripted show based on a capsizing of a boat. I think that happened in 1982. And for several days, they were capsized and they were attacked by sharks. Giant tiger sharks followed them around, which should be very interesting. But last night, I didn't need to see Anthony Anderson or Adam Devine or Joe McHale. I want to watch the Sharks. That's it. I don't know. Again, I don't need Shark After Dark. Just give me the Sharks. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter, and your Instagram as well. It is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I heard a pop, and it didn't sound right to me, so I turned in the direction of the pop, and I saw a gentleman in a green top with a gray handkerchief kind of around his neck and what appeared to be an assault rifle.
There's no reason to think that we were not safe there. And then this happens. You know what I'm saying? It could happen anywhere. You never think it's going to happen in your town, but look what happens.
We had 2 ladies. I feel so bad. They jumped in the cab. My family was still out, and I feel really bad about that. But I told them to get out. My wife told them to get in the back, and my family got in the car.
We have at least 15 people injured. We have 4 fatalities that we know of, including the suspect.
Yeah, and they got the suspect. He's a 19-year-old, won't use his name, don't want to use his name. Why he did it is the question that they're asking. His parents and family are well known in the Gilroy area. Been there for a long time. His grandfather was a city councilman. So this was, people knew who he was, of Italian and Iranian descent. the gun he used. Everybody's like, what kind of gun was it? What kind of gun was it? We need to know, okay, was it purchased illegally? What kind of gun was it?
We found out that the rifle that this suspect used was an SKS. It was a AK-47 type assault rifle. It was purchased legally in the state of Nevada.
All right, so the gun he used holds 10, right? And built in 1943. It's a Russian rifle. They're going to call it something very AK because it was built in Russia. 7.62 rounds, so it was a hunting round. I mean, it is, they're going to make it out to be, but he purchased it legally. So what do you do at that point in time, right? He cut through the fence, got into the area in Gilroy at the Garlic Festival, and away it went. And eventually they took him down. They were there quick. I have a feeling there was probably people already on the scene because it wasn't a scene. You get a lot of people in an area, like a festival. You're going to have extra security. So there were probably police already there, but within a minute they had responded, and they took him down. So he posted some cryptic, weird stuff, and it was, the Instagram took it down pretty quick. But, a lot of it was just, you really, like he had a picture of Smokey the Bear. He opened the account like 4 days before. Smokey the Bear said there's going to be a high probability of fire today, right? And you're just like, fire danger, high today. A few other things, he also posted a fringe white supremacist book written in 1890. About it. It was an individual, anarchist, revolutionist historian, and Holocaust denier James J. Martin called the book one of the most incendiary works ever to be published. He quoted from it. So what is it? That's just it. Like, what is it that made you decide that this was the day that I'm going to cut through something and I'm going to take my anger out on the world? What was that moment in time that you decided this is what you are going to do? Why? What happened? You didn't meet the girl of your dreams? She turned you down? Right? Did you, what exactly happened that you're so pissed off at the world for being born that you need to make everybody else feel your pain? Questioning his family today, and this is, it's a horrible situation. A 6-year-old, a 13-year-old, and another woman was killed, along with the shooter. 15 people were injured. A few of them are still in serious conditions. A few are in life-threatening conditions. Others are in fair condition. But it's that question again of how do we get to the point where we can identify that somebody is so pissed off at the world and so angry at the world, yet at some point in time they feel like, hey, you know what? For me being born, I need to take it out on the rest of the planet. And this is what I'm going to do. Police met him with force. He fired at them. They fired back. They won. Which is good. Bad guy was met by good guy with gun. Good guy won. Could have been much worse. Absolutely could have been much worse. Thank God it wasn't. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. The Battle of Baltimore is going on. Trump, of course, can't just stop being Trump. Over the weekend, Trump tweets out about, yes, kids, get ready for it, Baltimore, what Elijah Cummings supposedly said about what took place at the border and what he viewed. It's really interesting. I've gone to the border on more than a few occasions, from McAllen to Tucson, San Diego, Yuma. I've been to, several border things. I've seen it busy. I've seen it insane with the amount of people surrendering and what's going on. I see our overworked border patrol. But the stuff that some of them talk about, I haven't seen. Not that we can't make the conditions better, because I absolutely do. But I also look at people that are overworked and stressed out. So Elijah Cummings, of course, comes out and he says something about, look, this is what I saw when I went down there. Then Trump comes out and then goes after Elijah Cummings, and away we battle.
To push back against what the president sees as inaccuracies, lies about what Mr. Cummings said this week in the Oversight Committee about the border. If you go on the internet, you can find the exchange where Elijah Cummings said that children were sitting in their own feces at the border. That's wrong. In fact, it's misleadingly wrong. It's the type of thing that really breaks down a civilized debate about how to address the crisis at the border. And the president didn't like it. Does the president speak hyperbolically? Absolutely. Have we seen this type of reaction from him before? Yes, and you will again, because he pushes back, he fights back when he feels like he's attacked. And what Mr. Cummings said this week was wrong.
Yeah. Look, I think they were both wrong. I think the Democrats have just run with this border craziness, concentration camp, throwing around words that you should not be throwing around. In saying that, once again, Trump has gone out there and managed to create chaos when there was none. And then people are coming out and going after Trump. He's a racist. He's a bigot. He's all of these things. And yes, he's gone after the one and only Al Sharpton, because Al went after him, and the battle is beginning.
If he really thought I was a con man, he'd be nominating me for his cabinet.
Praise the Lord, Al. Baltimore's got issues, but other parts inside of Elijah Cummings' district is extremely well-to-do. In fact, I think per capita, maybe the highest in the country. But Baltimore's got a mess. It has got a massive mess. Some of the other things that are going to be questioned here, though, is Elijah Cummings' wife has a nonprofit of which it seems to be a lot of things continue to end up that she runs. A lot of money tends to end up there. There's a battle going on here in the Oversight Committee. By the way, who runs the Oversight Committee? Elijah Cummings. Where do a lot of these big corporations have to go to when it comes to certain things to get through? Oh, the Oversight Committee. This is politics right here. It is. But the way that Trump handles things is ugly. In saying that, Trump himself does get, because of the things that he's done in the past, because of the things that he said in the past, he goes out and says something. It becomes major news. Let's go back a few years and listen to Bernie Sanders talking about that same Baltimore.
The fact of the matter is that America is the wealthiest country in the history of the world. But anyone who took the walk that we took around this neighborhood would not think you're in a wealthy nation. You would think that you were in a third world country.
Trump says that it's racist, it's awful, it's evil. And I think there's something there when he says something. People say, well, he says infested. He's used that before. Well, he said the same thing about the drug problem. Was it in New Hampshire or Connecticut? Said the same thing. It said that it's infested with drugs. Is it a term that he should use because in a different way? Yeah, you can say, look, man, this is the craziness that you're causing. But you go out there and you attack somebody like this, you know that it's going to come back and the fight's going to be on. And rather than talking about the things that you want to talk about, the economy, where we're going in the economy, how good it is right now, some of your victories, we're instead talking about what? Tweets. And we're doing it again just 2 weeks removed from talking about other tweets. That's a struggle for people. It is. And I understand it's a struggle for people because I sit here and think, I don't really want to sit here and talk about this crap. I don't think many people do. Right? And right now, you've got a victory. Listen to this. You're feeling good after last week's craziness. And one of the big things that took place last week with Mueller is we're going to show the world, which, by the way, 13 million people, about 2% of the country, 2.5% of the country actually paid any attention to it. But those independent voters that matter so much are going to pay attention to this. And those are the ones that will decide Trump's fate, potentially, in the 2020 election. How did they feel about it?
The majority of independents, in fact, 6 out of 10, 60%, would say things like it was a waste of time or a waste of taxpayer money, or that they felt like Mueller himself was not up to the task. They questioned his fitness in some way. You only had about 1 in 5 of independents, about 20%, saying that the testimony seemed to prove that Trump was guilty of anything. So if the goal was the middle of the country, such as it is, it didn't appear that independents were really tuned in and dialed into this as being a major event.
No, they weren't. So you can come out and tout the victory that you think you got. You can come out and tout all of these wonderful things, but you didn't sway anybody. And the people that you were hoping to sway, because you knew everybody else already had their minds made up. You thought he was innocent or guilty. It was a necessary thing to expose his evil, or you think it's a witch hunt. But those other people who are independents, who are looking at this, kind of went, you wasted our time. You're wasting taxpayer money. You're not doing the things you need to do. And in the end, the independents, the exhaustive majority, we're the ones who will sway it, not the people that are already dug in and have chosen their sides. We will have the sway and the say. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Speaking of the economy, it is good. So that means you're hiring. And in doing so, you know that right now it's an employee market. It is. And it's tough to find. Hiring is so tough. I hear it all the time, how hard it is to find good employees. That's where ZipRecruiter comes in. They're incredible. I want you to write this down. ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. Let me tell you what ZipRecruiter is going to do for you that's going to be so amazing. As you compete for those people that are looking for jobs, knowing full well they have their pick, you want to stand out. ZipRecruiter is going to send your job to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. They're not going to stop there. They got a powerful matching technology. What they're going to do is they're going to scan thousands upon thousands of resumes to find people with the right experience. They're going to invite them to apply to your job. Right? Once the applications start to come in, ZipRecruiter is going to analyze them, spotlight the top candidates so you never miss a great match. ZipRecruiter is so effective that 4 out of 5 of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. What are you waiting for? Be in the lead. Win, win, win with ZipRecruiter. Right now, my listeners can try ZipRecruiter for free at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. 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 ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program as well. 323-538-CHAD. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Plea deal this.
Mueller, arrest me.
Chad will trade you 2 perjury charges for 1 collusion and throw in a reduced charge of obstruction for free.
Yeah, I'd do that.
For just listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Actress Lori Loughlin and her husband are presenting a united front in the college admissions scandal. They are expected to waive their right for separate lawyers. That's according to documents filed in U.S. District Court in Boston and obtained by the San Jose Mercury News. Their lawyers say the couple is asking for a common defense and that their clients are innocent. The couple's next court date is August 27th.
They're going to do real time. Does everybody understand that? They're going to do real time for getting their kids into college. The kids, by the way, who didn't really want to go to college. I think one of them did. The other one wanted to be a YouTube star. And they're going to get real jail time. Think about that for a second. They're going to do serious time, potentially, in jail for paying people off to get their kids into a college that cost a lot of money to go to that they had to pay for anyways. So weird. It's just so bizarre. Again, it's the Instagram world, right? Like that's so I read this amazing thing that people, in particular women, are getting plastic surgery and jaw fillers and stuff to match their Instagram filters because they want to look as good on their Instagram filters. It's insane. We're living in this world where everything has to be perfect and nothing is. It's not the real world. It's totally not the real world. But people do it for it's not about you. It's about what other people think of you, which is nuts. Half of millennials, half of them get money from mom and dad, according to a new study, in some way, shape, or form. Number one thing is paying for their cell phone, right? Number 2, groceries. Number 3, rent. 4, health insurance. And 5, gas. I could see that. About 14% said they've taken a bank loan or borrowed money from their friends. And about 4% said they asked grandma or grandpa for some cash. And only a third have said they've not asked for financial help. And they cite what? School loans as the number one issue. You should be less worried about what your selfie is and more worried about how can I take care of business. Isn't it nuts? I can't even imagine going to get plastic surgery so I look better taking a picture of myself. Talk about crazy narcissism. Like, I want to look better for everybody else to think that I'm better looking than I am. And I want to match the filters that I have right here. So I better get plastic surgery. Solid life choice. 323-538-2423. That is the text line at Chad Benson Show's Twitter and Instagram. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Stunned witnesses describe a horrific scene.
They're doing CPR on her.
It looked like he was playing duck hunt. He was just pecking people down. It was so scary.
I just hear, gunfire, pop, 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 pop.
A tight-knit community pulling together after a shattering night.
Yeah, Gilroy, 4 dead, including the gunman. They're looking for potentially a second suspect. I don't think he was or she was a gunman, but maybe participated in some way, shape, or form. It's just a nightmare. And the more you read, the more it tells you very little about this. Quotes from a white supremacist book. At the same time, he's Iranian and Italian. Said some stuff about white blanks moving into the area and his little Instagram. He only posted a few things. I mean, to me, I look at this and, it's just, why? Why are you pissed off at the world? We'll find out, potentially, why he's pissed off. But why did you have to take it out on everybody else? If you're angry at yourself and you hate the world, then take it out on yourself. I hate to say it, but if you're not going to get help, killing innocent people does what? What does it do for you? Right? What does it do for you? Nothing. Does nothing for you. You're getting back at who? Everybody else? The 6-year-old, the 13-year-old that died? The woman that died? You're getting back at them for what? You're ruining their lives and their family's life for what? Just curious. Because you're pissed off because you're born? Because some girl wouldn't be nice to you? Right? Because dad wanted you to get a job, whatever, they figure out what's wrong with this? It's ridiculous. It really is. It is. And the gun that we talked about, he bought it legally, right? It's a Russian gun. It's not an AK-47. Something similar was made in the 40s. Has 10 rounds in it. In the magazine. But the debate will begin when we should be talking about this clown and the hatred that he had for whatever it was and what drove him to this. We'll find out potentially. We don't always find these things out. Remember, there's still that mystery of what took place in Las Vegas. Never figured that out. But the more I read about this guy, oh, God, the more, I think you're right, Phil, producer Phil, incel, right?
That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what that is, they define themselves as unable to find a romantic or sexual partner despite desiring one. Basically, a loser with no game. But they had to give it something. It was like, you just can't call it loser with no game. Oh, you can. And I will. You got no game. You got zero game, so you're pissed at the world. Don't be surprised if that's what they come out and say. Guy in Santa Barbara, same thing, right? Just feels like just angry, not angry at the world for making him a loser, essentially, with zero game. So for that, everybody must pay. Everybody. What's trending? Google Trends. Number one trending thing yesterday, obviously, was the Gilroy Garlic Festival in the United States. 2 million people searched that. Number one today is Kelly McGillis. If you don't know who she was, she starred in Top Gun, and she said over the weekend, you know, because pretty much everybody is back in some way, shape, or form for the sequel, including Iceman, Val Kilmer, who's had real issues with throat cancer, and he looks a bit of a mess, to say the least. But she said nobody called her. Nobody called. So she's not in it for that. It's like, nobody called me. Well, there's a reason for that. Nobody was buying it. Looking back on it, I don't know if anybody bought it then, but we were naive. We live in a different world now. Tom Cruise looks exactly the same. And should I say this? Yeah, not so much. I'm just, it's without being a jerk. No, time's not been kind to you, is what I'm trying to tell you. Do you have a cat? Do you have a kitty cat? Because there's a right way and a wrong way, apparently, to petting your cat, which I was unaware of, because I think most cats just think, don't touch me. I will signal to you when I want you to pet me.
They say there are cat people and dog people, and for those of you cat people, there's a new Live Science article out describing the scientifically correct way to pet a cat. Some cats just don't want to be petted, it reads. For the ones who do, like my own cat Squeaky, the article came with a list of instructions. So we tried it out. Signs of enjoyment. Come here. Tail held upright and choosing to initiate contact. Okay, Squeaky just walked up to me and his tail is upright. Oh, yes. Signs a cat is not enjoying it? You'll know. Flattened ears, narrow eyes, and a hiss. Squeaky didn't do that. And there's the purr.
I have a cat named 3. I call him the world's best cat. He's got 3 legs. He's the most amazing cat in the world. You can do, I mean, he is just hilarious, and he just loves people, and he loves to be pet all the time. And I've had other cats where, like most people, I mean, cats they don't care for you. Like, look, I don't care for you. I'll let you know when I care for you, and that's usually right around when I need some food. And then I will care for you just long enough for you to give me food. Then I will move on from you. So just know that. There's no right way or wrong way. Just know that 98% of cats don't want you around them. I think that's as simple as it gets. Sharks have better dispositions than most cats. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Do love hearing from every single one of you. Tomorrow night, the battle begins again. So we're going to have 2 nights of the Democratic debate. Night 1, night 2. CNN will host this one. Remember how important it is for the moderators. I continue to stress that. Moderators are vitally important. I think this is the last time we will see this many. I think the herd will be thinned out rather quickly after this one because a good majority of these people are running out of money, and money's what keeps you around. Bernie will be fine because of money, even if they're not polling well. But Bernie's polling pretty damn good comparatively to a lot of others. Biden's obviously going to be around. Kamala Harris will be around. Buttigieg is a money-raising machine. He's not going anywhere, right? So, and you've got Elizabeth Warren. And outside of that, you could see just a massive fall off from there. Beto, probably done and dusted. Last time I checked, he had about $5 million cash on him. But the questions tomorrow, you have a lot of questions about healthcare. You're going to have a lot of questions about the border. Bernie today touched a bit about the border that I think needs to be addressed.
Right now, what we need is a comprehensive immigration reform package, which does a number of things. Number one, it leads to a path towards citizenship for the 11 million who are undocumented right now. That's what we've got to do. It provides legal status for the 1.8 million people, young people, who are in the DACA program. And it develops a compassionate and humane process for asylum at the border. People traveling 1,000 miles by foot with little children are not criminals. They are people dealing with violence and incredible poverty in their own country. So we need a rational asylum process. We don't need to be ripping little children from the arms of their mothers.
That's a great thing to say, ripping little children from the arms of their mothers. Here's the thing. Just because you traveled 1,000 miles, just because economically you have issues in your country, and as far as violence goes, we talked about this thing is Guatemala's, their murder rate is down tremendously over the last several years. It's still a violent, nasty place. There's still plenty of drugs and crime in plenty of these places. But the majority of people that apply for asylum do not get asylum. So just because you get here doesn't automatically mean you win the prize of asylum. And what does that look like? Do we change the entire asylum law? That you come here, you apply, you get? I mean, I know there's a lot of people on the left that would love that. But no, we can't do that. And the 11 million, I'm sorry, Bernie, I don't buy that anymore. I don't buy that at all. I'm thinking we're closer to 25 to 30 million people. We've been saying 11 million for a decade plus. We've been saying that for a long time. There's probably been at least 1 million people between the border and overstayed visas a year that have stuck around. Even if you stick with 11, you go back 10 years, you're looking at 20 plus million people, which is one thing that Democrats don't want you to know. That I do know, because I think there is this point of no return. And I think we're getting closer and closer to it, and it's ugly. And the Democrats fought so hard for the census for a lot of reasons, but one of them in particular is they do not want you to really find out how many people are here. Because if you found out it was 28 million or 30 million, 11 million to 30 million is a big difference. And that opens up a lot of people's eyes who say, you know what? I'm thinking this is a bridge too far for me. So we can talk about that. And of course, tomorrow night, they're going to be all over healthcare. Today, the debut of Harris's healthcare plan. And she wants a public-private option. Bernie wants single payer, period, case closed. You will not have a choice. You will be given a government doctor. That will be your doctor. There you go. That's going to be your thing. Your everything's going to go up, even though you won't have, quote unquote, to pay for premiums and co-pays. The reality is your taxes will rise. No matter what he says, the middle class is going to eat the brunt of this, because everywhere else around the world that he points to, who do you think pays for it? The middle class. And remember that money is mobile. It's that simple. If you have money, you can be mobile and you can move that money around. So the amount of money that he thinks he's going to get from the rich and the wealthy is going to be much different than the reality of it. And if you look around the globe, who pays for the majority of things like, quote unquote, socialized medicine, free health care, whatever you want to call it, single payer? It's the middle class. So that's, if you have to lose 50% of your income to taxes, depending on what state you're in, obviously you're in California, you're paying 10% income tax, or New York and a few of the, Massachusetts, you're going to pay 8, 10, 12% of your, income and income tax on top of 35 to 40% for federal. Your life looks much different because your bills ain't going down. You may not have health care to worry about, but you got all those other things. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter, tweet at us. Slept amazing. Took a nap the other day. Oh, my God. I got home, traveled, got to my house on Saturday. I'm like, it's nap time. Woke up like 3.5 hours later. It was delicious. Oh, my God. It was amazing. It was. My pillow, my pillow, my pillow. Period. Case closed. Didn't take it with me to L.A., and I did not sleep well at all. Right now, my pillow's doing something for my listeners. That's you guys out there. Less than $70. So it's $34.99 a pillow. Lowest price ever offered. You can get 2 premium pillows. These amazing pillows made in the USA, 10-year warranty, machine washable and dryable. But here's the thing, a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you got nothing to lose. It's a limited time. Act now. 2 premium pillows, free shipping, less than $70, 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. It's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, or call 800-983-4975. Use that promo code Benson. Free shipping, 60-day money-back guarantee, 2 premium pillows, less than $70. What are you waiting for? MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Lil Nas X just wrote his single Old Town Road into the history books. The song, with many remixes, but the most popular being the one featuring Billy Ray Cyrus, has now spent 17 weeks at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart. That beats a record set by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men's One Sweet Day in 1995-96, and then tied 2 years ago by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee's Despacito, featuring Justin Bieber. Old Town Road is Lil Nas X's first single.
Yeah, try to back that one up, right? It's like, all right. So this was number 1 for how long? Oh, do you think it's the song of the summer? I do. I do believe it's the song of the summer. Look at Billy Ray, man. Billy Ray helped out, and he's ridden this thing just as long as Lil Nas X has. Not bad. Not a bad gig if you can get it. Looking at his daughter going, that's how you did it. That's it right there. Need a few hits. Washington State, we've got a lawsuit. With this being Shark Week, we're not done with sharks, right? We got to look at all the animals in the ocean, including whales, and some of them not in an ocean.
2 members of the Lumi tribe are threatening to sue the Miami Seaquarium to demand the release of a captive orca named Lolita. The 50-year-old orca was captured in Puget Sound. Protesters gathered in Seattle Saturday to call for Lolita's return. Melinda Barajas was at the protest.
I think that we have really good chances with Lummi Nation and all the other organizations.
Members of the tribe say they hope to sit down with Miami Seaquarium and work out a solution out of court.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, what's the solution? Right? Like, usually you would do a settlement. What are you going to give them? All right, like, we're not going to give you the whale, but we've got 4 dolphins. We only need 2. So did you guys like 2 dolphins? We won't have the whale do shows anymore. I'm not quite sure, what you do in a situation like that. 1970 is when the whale was caught. 1970. Because they don't catch whales anymore. I want everybody to understand that. They haven't caught whales for a very long time, nor should they. And a lot of these whales are captive born, so they've never been in the ocean. How that would work out would be interesting. I'm sure some people would like to try it, to release these animals into and it's a weird thing, like animals being in captivity, right? Because we fall in love with these animals. Because the fact is we have an opportunity to see them. People go to SeaWorld and other places. And at the same time, we want them to be free, but we learn so much about them. It's a weird thing when you think about it, right? Because if we didn't have a chance to see these things up close, I'm talking about the average person, and not just on television. The average person isn't going to go out and check out animals like this and see them up close like this, right? They're not going to see puffins or dolphins, right? If they're lucky, they may go to the beach once or twice in their life. If you live in the center of the country, you may, and even if you go to the beach 50 times, you may never see a whale like this. So it's a weird thing. We'll see. We'll see. I still don't know. I don't know what kind of settlement you reach. Normally it's a cash settlement. Are they going to take cash? We'll give you $500,000. Sorry, we caught the whale in 1970. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Your useless fact of the day. For all the talk of the Titanic and that great tragedy it was, 1987, on my birthday, in 1987, December 20th, the Donna Paz became the greatest maritime peace disaster ever. 4,375 people perished. Think about that. Crazy. 4,375 people in a single day. Have a great rest of your day. Smile a little bit. We'll do it again tomorrow. As always, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.